Right, so I'm here with Julian Sambles from the Telegraph and Andrew Lyons from Ultra Knowledge. And the reason I'm with these two is they both care about news and how search engines affect news. And one of the specific questions I wanted to ask you guys is trending topics. How do you plan for trending topics with search engines and social networks?
Me first? Right, basically what we could do, I think there are two types of trending topic. The first one is one you can plan for. World Cup, Wimbledon, all these you can strategically plan for, and you have a whole SEO strategy for that trending topic, how you're going to approach it. You've also got history there, so you can go back in time and have a look and see what was very popular last time, and then react to that and work with the editorial team on how best to approach it. And what people are looking for. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's up to the editorial guys how they approach it, but they take our input on what was popular last time, as they would any other input. The more challenging ones and trending topics are topics or events that we don't know happen, like a tsunami or a big earthquake or a large accident or crash. Those ones we've got to be very more reactive. Part of our strategy at the Telegraph is to train and educate all our journalists. So as soon as it happens, it's not like they're on the phone to me saying, "What do I do now?" It's they know what they're doing because we work on that, and they work through it. We just check it and we just give them extra advice if they need it. So for us, it's a lot to do with the training and the setting up, so they're aware when it happens. How do we deal with it? How do we make it a trend? How do we spot it a trend? We do use social media to try and spot trends, but as far as our organisation, you may spot them, but then we've got to verify it, and that's part of the newsroom to actually verify that and take that story through.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is the content is king. Once you've created the content, it's then how you maximise exposure to it for the search engines and the users to find that content. If you are looking at a particular topic like the World Cup, as Julian says, you can pre-plan for that. All the archive content, how do you actually maximise exposure to that? And that's where technology can actually help rather than doing it manually. Ultra Knowledge has a way to do that, shall we say.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I was kind of driving at, is that one of the things that happens in news is that new search terms just appear and they become high volume very, very quickly.
Sure. And
the bloggers can often reach these search terms the quickest, and news organisations can be a bit slow to catch up. And but there are technologies out there now that seem to be having a long-term strategy about almost flooding the search engines with possible content leads that they can pick up. And I was just wondering, if you can tell me a bit more about whether that strategy can work.
Well, I think one of the things you can do, if you know you're on a particular subject that you're editorially responsible for creating content on, and you're monitoring all the blogs out there that talk about there, that's growing faster and quicker than ever before. So there might be 200 blogs you've got to go and check content on. If you can find a way to automate the process of what we call spotting the mutations. So before it's a trend, it becomes a mutation. If you can then pass that information on to the editorial team, hopefully that will make their job easier.
Yeah, now that's an interesting way of putting it, mutations. So for instance, Telegraph has the dig widget. You actually, are kind of endorse dig, even though potentially the audience is a slightly different fit. But what's interesting about that is that it's a kind of, like you say, it's a mutation. It's the audience defining.
Yeah, I think the dig widget that we have on our site, in certain areas on our site, it's not on all of them, it's there really for the user engagement. We as a publisher, we have the share this functionality, which again, why is that there? What we're trying to do is, because we understand that some of the people coming to our site wouldn't know what Dig or Delicious or Reddit or Fark or all these other social media as well. So therefore we're trying to educate them and say, hey, if you want to take out a bit of content and share that with a like-minded community, because actually it's what you like and what you're about, you can do that. And actually here's an easy way of doing it, and we'll help you understand what it's all about. Dig for us is a great tool there. It shows what stories that we've written, how they're doing on that particular social network, and it shows it to people so they can easy access. For us, that's is a way of engagement. Even though it's with a third party, that's fine. It's at the end of the day, it's our core content that people are writing about and commenting on and engaging with, which is great.
But this is the thing with the news industry. It's almost been like aggregation has, changed the way news is consumed online. And actually, Telegraph seem to have kind of embraced all these other aggregators like Dig. And I also know that with Ultra Knowledge, there's, you look at a lot of aggregation with the Metro and things like that.
Sure.
So, I mean, is that the future of news? That, now as a news brand, it's not just about being top of the search engines for one particular query. It's about showing the readers all the different sources out there.
For us, it's about, you called it aggregation, I'll call it distribution. We have a great bit of content on our site. We want as many people to find that within whichever medium they're happy to find it. Some may find it through their RSS readers. Some may find it through a third-party site that's following our RSS reader. Some may find it through Dig, some may find it through, let's say, Drudge Report. If you look at Drudge Report, that's a media organisation, but actually what that is a link to lots of other news organisations that the content's not actually with the Drudge Report. So again, there are different ways of engaging it. What we're trying to do is just say, look, we've got some great bit of content about this area, and here are different ways of people finding it, and therefore that's why we use social media in that method. And when we say use social media, we allow people to engage with it. And what we try and do is we're not a search engine, we're not a social media organisation, we're a content provider. So what we need to do is work out how to best work with these new players, Twitter, Delicious, Dig, in such a way to benefit both parties, so that actually our readers get the best of our content, and that's what we're about.
I think aggregation can help on the depth and breadth of content. So we might be writing a story on, let's say, the John Terry affair, but there may be other commentaries out there that are talking about the same thing. Now, do we let the users go and find that content, or do we say, hey, here's what we've written, but here's what other people have done? It's almost not being scared to say other people are writing on these comments. That's news, that's what happens. The other interesting thing is, if you have any editorial gaps, or you don't have a strong team in a particular category, this is where aggregation can come and actually really help the user on that. Provide them with access to other stuff that's not yours, but hey, you're not scared to send people off.
So it's almost like the future of news could be co-opetition rather than competition.
Definitely, I think the search engine's changed the fact that I can go anywhere I want to. If I come to your site and you don't have the content on that particular subject, but you know somebody else has got it, should I show that to the user to let them know we've got other stuff? That's a decision that newspapers have to make.
And we've definitely gone that way. We're not afraid to link out to other news organisations, both UK and global, if it's relevant to that topic. But for us at the moment, it's very much an editorial choice to make sure that we've got the quality link and the right link to the right place, and make sure that's right. As technology evolves and we get good solutions in there that can automate that process in an intelligent way, then yeah, we want to use it. And very much it is a case that if we're writing about a subject, if a person reads that and wants to read further and we don't have that content, then why not pass them on to someone else who does have that content? It's part of the user experience, and they'll recognise that come from the Telegraph and know that we're a place where actually it's not just us, it's about them and the experience that we're giving them.
I think the key thing about the aggregation is you have to find a way that if I get a whole load of other content from third-party sources, or as a business I actually acquire a new business that has, let's say a decade's worth of content, how do I automatically contextually relate that to what I've written in the past? Do that manually, non-starter. Technically, it can be done then.